Hi, it's Gary. Well, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take a look at another 5 pens from my collection, and I thought what I'd do is theme this around pens which are very similar to a Leonardo Momento Zero. So here's the 5 pens, just a quick look in my hand. Join me now down on the table. We'll take a look at each pen. We'll do a writing sample. At the end of the writing samples, we'll also write a sentence with each pen. Then I'll give you my quick thoughts on these pens. Welcome down to the table. Today we're going to take a look at 5 pens that I'm affectionately calling my Leonardo Momento Zero lookalikes, or ones that make me think of the Momento Zero. The first one, it's a bit of a stretch. This is the Majohn T5. So we've got very similar ends, the body a little bit different. I wanted 5 pens, I know, so I snuck this one in. So it's a little bit of a stretch. I believe there's an Aurora pen that this is very similar to. I don't have any Aurora pens, so I can't really comment too much. Beautiful dark purple colour, and just look at this here, where we've got some hints of light which really fetch it to light. This is a piston filling pen. We've got here an ink window. The mechanism, on my first use, the mechanism messed up. It is sealed, but it just looks ugly. Down here we've got the Majohn, or the Moonman nib. There we go. So this is a Majohn T5. This paper, by the way, is our Uge paper, 100 GSM paper. The nib on here is a medium. Price for this pen, you're looking approximately 27 Aussie dollars, so not overly expensive. Certainly not cheap though. The ink is by Diamine, and it's a night shade. Nice bluey colour here with a hint of purple. Let's do a WASCII squirrel grid. So we go up and down, side to side, and then a grid and diagonals. So not really seeing much in the way of any line variation here. Drying times, immediate. Looks fairly dry, doesn't it? 10 seconds. Nearly dry there, 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, yeah, that's nice and dry. For the full picture, it's currently 24 Celsius here. It's not a lot of humidity, and I do have a desk fan that's blowing over the desk. All of that can impact the drying times. And to give you the full picture, while I was waiting for that 30 seconds, look at that. The end fell off, so I've got to go now try and find it under my desk later on. That's the Majohn T5. Up next, from Asvine, we've got the Asvine P20. I love the looks of this. Beautiful colouring, isn't it? You've got blues, you've got browns, you've got nice chatoyancy coming through. Absolutely stunner. It's another piston filling pen. Ink window on here is not as good as it is on the T5. It's usable, but I would have liked to have seen it wider. And the inside here, the inside of the pen is not the entirety of the barrel. There's another barrel inside that. The nib on here is the Asvine nib. There we go. Nice fit in the hand, and it's got what I think of as that Leonardo style section where it's going down, but we do have a little flare up at the bottom. So we've got here, I'm just going to turn this on the side. I know, should have done it for the first one, but it just makes it a bit easier for me to write. We've got the Asvine P20. On here is a medium nib. Price wise, we do take a little bit of a jump, up to 44 Aussie dollars. The ink, it's by Colorverse, and it's Neptune Occultation. And quite a fancy name, isn't it? Let's do the grid. So we go up and down, filling this nice and quickly. Side to side. Then there's the grid. And here's diagonal. It may just be my wishful thinking. I do think the downline is slightly wider than the cross line, but I say it could be my imagination. Drying times, here's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Nearly dry there again. I'm going to go though for 1 minute. After a minute there, that's nice and dry. So that's the Asvine P20. Let's move it up. One of my first Chinese fountain pens that I bought. I bought this because I wanted to know how a Leonardo Momento Zero would feel, but I didn't want to spend that sort of money. This is the Majohn, or the Moonman, and it's the M800. This is in the amber colour. I like this pen. I've got all 4 colours of it, and I've got various different nibs on them now. It's nice though. I love that we've got this beautiful material. This is called amber. We've got slightly transparent there. This one is a cartridge converter. There we go. Came with the converter. Here we've got the nib. This is a Bock nib. So when you buy this pen, you can either get it with a Majohn nib or a Bock nib. I went for the Bock nib on this one. So we've got a Majohn M800 with a fine nib. Price wise, you're looking approximately 45 Aussie dollars. The ink is Diamine. It's Sleigh Ride. One of my favourite inks, this. I thought, let's try this in a fine nib. It's an extreme sheen ink, so it'll be interesting to see how it comes out. So filling up the grid. As you can see, fine nib, taking a lot more strokes there to fill this up. Going across. And then the grid. And then, finally, diagonals. The nib got a tiny bit of softness to it, not a lot, but it's certainly not a hard, stiff nib. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. One minute. Just go to the other side of the grid. After a minute there, that's nice and dry. You can see here on the page, I'm just going to try and catch this in like the beautiful extreme sheen. Let me just try and get this to focus a bit better. There we go. It's got this beautiful green sheen on top of this beautiful red ink. I absolutely love this. Really is my favourite ink. There we go, and capture that smell on the camera. So that's the Majohn M800. Because I liked that, I did think to myself, yeah, I'm quite happy to spend the money on Leonardo pens. So I went ahead and did that. The next 2 pens, they're both made by Leonardo. The first one was the 3rd Leonardo pen I got, and it's the Leonardo Momento Magico. So more or less the same shape as the Momento Zero. Difference being this is a piston filler. And we've got a massive ink window, really good, generous ink window there. You can hopefully see that as I move this around. This colour is called Meal. Very nice. I love the colour of this. It's like a cracked ice. Meal is honey. Really nice. And on here we've got there the nib. This is a broad nib. So we've got here a Leonardo Magico with a broad nib. Price wise, you're looking at 272 Aussie dollars. This is why I wanted to try out that cheaper M800 first. The ink is by Colorverse, and it's a giant Sunspot. Really nice coloured ink. I think it goes quite well with this. It just highlights the colours a bit. And let's do our grid. So because this is a broad nib, you'd expect it to be filling this grid a lot quicker. And there it goes. Look at that. And then going down. And then we've got our grid and diagonals. So again, not seeing too much in the waveline variation there. Drying times. So we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute there, that's still smudging quite a bit, so this is a fairly wet combo. So that's the Leonardo Momento Magico with Colorverse Giant Sunspot. Let's move the page and we'll look at the last pen. So the last pen, it's the first Leonardo that I bought. It's also my first expensive pen that I bought. And it's the Leonardo, it's the Momento Zero, but this is the Grande version. I'm just going to fetch that Magico in so you get an idea for the size difference. There you go. This is a piston filling pen. Unfortunately, there's no ink window, so you've got no idea what your ink level is. This material, there we go, it's absolutely beautiful. It's called Dark Hawaii. It's a really nice spaghetti pattern. We've got loads of different colours in there as well. I love the section on this. I love the way it steps down. This just fits my hand perfectly. I hold my pens down near the bottom, so you can actually see how the way this is shaped, my fingers just slip in there. Ever so nice. On here we've got the Leonardo nib. It was my first ever Leonardo. I just bought it with a medium nib. And it's a steel nib. So we've got here a Leonardo, Momento, Zero, and a Grande. Quite a long name, isn't it? And as I've already said, it's got a medium nib. Price-wise, it was about 372 Aussie dollars. As I say, my first really expensive pen. The ink is by Colorverse. And it's a Pulsar Pulse. Beautiful blue ink, also got a red sheen to it. Let's look at the grid. So we go up and down. Get a nice line coming out of this, side to side. And then there's our grid pattern. And then the diagonals. Drying times, we go immediate. Get a clean finger. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Nearly dry there. Let's go and do the 1 minute. After a minute there, we're still getting a bit of a smudge. So it's not overly wet, but it's a nice wet combo to say that. Hopefully on here you can see as well some of that red sheen coming through. We'll have a look better when we do our sentences. Talking about those, let's get this out of the way. I'm going to fetch in some 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. It's the old style Tomoe River paper. And I'm going to write a sentence with each of the pens in the same order. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the paper. What I'll do whilst I write each sentence, I will position the mic down near the paper so you can hear the pen writing. We start with the Majohn T5. That's very smooth. It's also whisper quiet. You can just about hear it, but it's really, really quiet. The Asvine P20. Very similar in terms of the noise. It's just like it's got a little bit of a whisper to it. The nib on that, though, did feel a lot stiffer than the Majohn's. Let's move the page up. One of the things I like with doing this on here, because I'm doing them next to each other, you can see here, although they're both medium nibs, the medium on the Asvine is a lot narrower than the medium on the T5. Next up, the Majohn M800 with that Bock nib. That's another fairly stiff feeling nib. Again, sound-wise very similar. Not getting a lot of sound off any of these pens so far. I wonder what we'll get with the two Leonardos. And this, it's a fine line. It's a fine nib anyway. The Leonardo Momento Magico. Still fairly quiet. I would say it's a bit louder than the previous three. I've got more tactileness coming from this. The nib is a bit softer and I can feel a little bit through my fingers as I'm writing. Just reposition the page and the final pen, the Momento Zero Grande. That's another nice one. Again, not overly loud. The nib feels not as soft as I was getting from that Magico, but it's still pleasant to write with. Let's just have a look on this paper, because this usually shows the sheen a lot nicer. So you can see there where we've got that extreme sheen here with the M800. Hopefully you can see here where the red is developing quite nicely on the Pulsar Pulse. There we go. This is the Momento Zero Grande and the Colorverse Neptune's Occultation in the Asvine. I have in my notes that this does have a bit of sheen to it, but I've got to be honest, I can't see any. Let's swap on over and fetch all the pens in for one final look. Here we've got today's pens. We've got the Majohn T5, the Asvine P20, the Majohn M800 with the Bock nib, the Leonardo Magico and the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. All of them nice pens. T5 build quality, not really what I would like to see, especially around this mechanism. If I had to pick one as my winning pen, which one would I choose? Oh, this one's so hard because I like certainly the last four. The T5 I'm a bit dubious about now, but certainly these other ones I really enjoy writing with. I really enjoy the looks of them. I think if I had to go for winner, I would go for the Momento Zero Grande, purely because the extra size, the extra width it has, just makes it such a comfortable writing experience. So these are my thoughts on some Leonardo Momento Zero lookalikes. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. So what are your thoughts on these pens? What are your thoughts on pens that are I'm going to say highly inspired by some of the more expensive pens. Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart a conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.